to start that question, I think you look back a little bit, and you know, Toby, you mentioned it in your introduction. Owe a lot of the successes of the council to Steve Curran, and his legacy will always be felt in Hounslow. And I think that gives us a really strong base in which to build for the next 4 years. Our manifesto as a Labour Party, as a controlling group on the council, was titled "Ambitious for Hounslow," and that is absolutely true, and that will translate very neatly into our corporate plan, which will be out in a few weeks' time. So we are ambitious in terms of development. We're ambitious for our communities. We're ambitious for our young people, and we're ambitious for a very green environment in and around Hounslow. So in terms of the sort of top three, for me personally, as council leader, I want to see a really inclusive council. What we often pick up on the doorstep, and it's often on single issues, but sometimes apathy towards politics and politicians plays out on the doorstep as well, and people sort of often feel that the council sits up here and they're sort of, as residents, are at the bottom of the chain, as it were. And that's something that I really want to address, and this comes back to, and I'm sure we'll talk through it over the course of this discussion, around the way we engage with our residents. So bringing the council closer to residents, I think, is really, really important. And consulting, not for the sake of consulting, but consulting to actually understand what makes communities, individuals, residents, and businesses tick in the borough, and how we can place ourselves in the best way to meet their needs. So that's the first thing. The second thing, as I mentioned just a second ago, is around that cleaner and greener agenda. We were very early in declaring a climate emergency, and we've got a very comprehensive climate emergency action plan, along with other strategies that sort of support it. And we have to acknowledge we're on the doorstep of Heathrow, and that presents its challenges, and it's working with the likes of Heathrow to make sure that they're also on side with the agenda, and that we are using our position as a local authority to work very closely and coordinate with partners to be able to deliver the aspirations. Because I think residents, again, on the doorstep tell us we want a cleaner borough. We want air quality is something that's really, really important. But also within that, perhaps they aren't able to articulate it, but clean jobs, green jobs of the future, I think will also be really, really important. So that's the second thing. And then, there was quite a bit in the manifesto, and there'll be quite a bit in the corporate plan. But for me personally, it's giving our young people the best chance in life. I was born in Hounslow. I've been brought up in Hounslow, educated in Hounslow, apart from when I went to university, which was an experience in itself, but we won't talk about that now. In terms of our young people, we're really proud that we want to introduce a young person's guarantee, and we're sort of defining that at the moment and really working. But that's, if you imagine the NHS, that sort of concept of cradle to grave in the NHS, for us, it's sort of cradle to adulthood and the world of work for our young people. And that could be skills, education. We're really proud in Hounslow that all of our schools are either good or outstanding by Ofsted standards, which is something that we want to build on. But we acknowledge that not everybody will go to sixth form and then on to college and then on to university. We want apprenticeships in the borough. We want real partnerships with those businesses that are in the borough. And as part of our inward investment, we would like our partners, those that are coming in, to really take on that mantle of offering apprenticeships for young people and opportunities for young people to get into the world of work. So there is a lot, Toby, but hopefully that gives you a flavour of the sort of top three for me personally.
Just unpacking that first one, looking at being an inclusive council, being more engaged. How are you gonna sort of measure that? How will you know if you've succeeded? What does good look like?
With the way you consult and engage, you have to acknowledge that you're not going to be able to satisfy everyone, and often people measure how well they've been engaged with how much they actually agree with what you're saying to them and how much they agree with you. But broadly speaking, we have a number of measures. We do a resident survey every year, which sort of talks about how people interact with the council. And generally speaking, that's on the whole been quite positive, but where there have been areas of deficiencies in the past, there have been significant areas of deficiency. So for example, how do people contact the council? Simple things like, if I want to do something with the council, how do I contact them? And we hear on there's no doubt that a decade of austerity has really gutted the place to a certain degree, reduced the number of staff, the headcount, and that's made it more difficult to be responsive. And to a certain degree, we are replacing what we've lost in the past. So small measures like being able to pick up the phone if you so wish and speak to someone and have something done that you need doing. We're very keen on digital in the council, so redesign the website to make it more transactional so that you can get what you need to do done very quickly, and something happens. So those are small measures. On the larger stuff, I think it's very difficult to measure, but you get a sense when a community feels that they are close to the council and the council is listening to them. Their ability to actually tell us what they want increases, and that capacity increases. And seeing an increase in the amount of casework that my councillors receive would actually be very welcome. Hearing what communities want and being out there and seeing that is really, really important as well.